Okay, here's a quick screencast about content areas. It will just talk briefly about what they are and how they can be used. So let's go first of all and have a look at an example of a content area. You can see at the top it says content area is a top level folder which you can use to organize and present content. It can contain subfolders, learning modules, and any kind of file or media type. Um, so this kind of top level folder is something which you can create and add to your menu here, and you can create as many as you like. If you're comparing it to Vista, to the old system, then the closest thing is probably to think about a home page. So if we just remember the home page with all these folders on was kind of seemed to be the most common way to lay out content and to present content. Now the difference in Blackboard Learn is you can create as many of those areas as you like and you can add them to your menu. The big question is really, how do you organize your menu so that content is presented in an accessible and easy to use way to your students, and you make sure that they find all the resources that you want them to. If you look at this example, you can see that there are all types of different content which you can include within a content area. So subfolders, these are called content folders, and you can create as many of those as you like. You've got learning modules, similar to the old system in that they take the student through a sequence of activities. Then you've got item, you've got something called a mashup, which is adding something straight from YouTube, for example. All sorts of different content, so you could include images, audio, whatever you like in there. So the question really is, how do you organize your content and different ways to present content? So there are all sorts of different ways. You could do it chronologically. Week 1, week 2, week 3. Of course, with 30-week modules, this is so you probably want to avoid having a separate content area for each week, because that would create a very long menu. But you could divide it into weeks 1 to 5, weeks 6 to 10, etc. Or you could do it by learning materials, so the type of learning material, that could be lectures, seminar topics, whatever you like. Or it could be module topics. If your module subject matter can be easily and logically divided, you might want to do it into topics. One thing to mention here is that some faculties will have a recommended structure or template for presenting learning materials, so it's worth finding out what that is. Okay, so let's just have a look quickly at how you create a content area. It's very simple. You go to the plus sign at the top of the menu and then click on content area. We'll give it a name. We'll call it new content area, and we'll tick make available to users and submit. Whenever you create a new item, it always appears at the bottom of your menu. Okay, so if we can move that obviously with drag and drop like this. I'm just going to move it there, and then you can see there's a little drop down arrow next to it. This gives you options to rename that content area. You can hide it, or if you originally didn't tick available to users, then you can show it to users. So if you're working on it and you want to wait a little while before making it available, then that's the way to do it, or you can just delete it. Okay, so if we go into the content area, you'll see that there's nothing there, and that's when you need to start adding your content from the action bar here. We'll have a look at that in the next screencast. The other one thing I wanted to show you here was how you can change the view. So you can see the big difference here with the previous system is that everything is in a line from top to bottom, so it's a kind of linear display, and that's because people will be maybe viewing this content on lots of different media. So on a tablet, for example, on the phone, then this is the best way to display it. But if you don't like that, you can change it. So you see there's a little arrow at the top here next to the name of your content area, and you can see it says show icons only and show text only. So if we select show icons only, then it displays it in more of a kind of slightly different structure. The one thing here is that when you display icons only, it doesn't give you the description. So you'd have to make sure the description of your content is in the title. If we go back, we can show text only, and that just means you don't get the little icons at the front. And then we'll go back to the most common type, which is show icons and text, and here we are again. So one thing people ask often is, can you change these icons? Because in the old system you could. The answer is basically no, you can't change these little icons of a folder and so on. But basically that's content areas. You need to think very carefully about how you're going to present content to your students.